the Lord has said He is coming in an unknown moment. And now He gives a parable and concludes the parable by saying, you know neither the day nor the hour in which the Son of Man comes. The disciples said, when will it be? And He said, no one will ever know. It will be sudden and it will be unexpected. You will know the general time because I'll give you the signs, which He did in chapter 24, verses 4 to 31. You will know the general marks of that time, which He called birth pains leading to the birth of the kingdom. But the exact moment and the exact hour you will never know. For as the epistles tell us, the Lord will come as a thief in the night, unexpectedly and suddenly. This parable is a parable with the intent of teaching us the suddenness and the unexpectedness of the coming of the Lord, which therefore should call us to preparedness, so that we are not caught in that unexpected moment, unprepared for His coming. Notice verse 1. Starts with the word then. Then takes us to a time. What time? The time when the Lord comes, that He has just been speaking of in the prior passage, closing chapter 24. The time when He comes to reward the faithful servant and to punish the unfaithful servant. It's at that time that the kingdom of heaven, that is the sphere of God's rule, will be like this. So here is a parable to illustrate the time period of the second coming. That's the intent of the opening of verse 1. It takes us to the time of the coming of the Lord and calls for readiness, preparedness, alertness on the part of all of us, for that time will come unexpectedly and suddenly. Goes without saying, I guess, that we're aware of the fact that the first time Jesus came, the world was not ready. They should have been. The prophets had marked out very clearly the signs to look for. They said there would be a forerunner. There was. They identified Him as a voice crying in the wilderness. That's exactly what John did. They said the Messiah would be born in Bethlehem. He was. Born of a virgin. He was. Of the line of David. He was. They said He would come to Galilee. He did. They said He would have great power. He had it. But the world still was not prepared and not ready. And so He came unto His own, says John, and His own received Him not. He was in the world, and the world was made by Him, but the world knew Him not. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, He said, how oft I would have gathered thee as a hen gathereth her brood, but you would not. And in Luke chapter 19 and verses 41 and following, we read, and when He was come near, He beheld the city and wept over it, saying, if thou hadst known, even thou, at least in this thy day, the things which belong unto thy peace, but now they are hidden from thine eyes. If you had only known what time it was, if you had only known that I was here, and now it's too late. And this parable warns the world not to let that happen again. For there will be no recourse in the future. Now, the theme of the parable is very simple. It is not complex. The parable is meant to teach us that Jesus is coming, that He is coming to judge sinners and to reward the righteous, that He is coming in a sudden and unexpected moment, and everyone should be prepared. And afterward, there will be no second chance. People may knock all they want, but the door will be shut. The day of opportunity will have come and gone forever. Now, the parable is very simple. It's rich. It's exciting. And I think its marvel is in its simplicity. As you read the many, many writings that have been written around this parable, it can get very confusing. There are the allegorists who want to turn it into an allegory and give every single thing in it a mystical meaning, so that you get lost in a mass of verbiage of hidden, secret, spiritual ideas. That is not the intent of a parable. And then there are the devotionalists who want to see in every single thing something applicable to the Christian life, and that's wrong as well. And then there are the critics who just want to deal with the data and say it's a confusing parable because they can't figure out who the bride is and even where the bride is, since there's no bride mentioned. Were the bridesmaids at the bride's house or the groom's house, or were they out on the street? And if they were out on the street, did they sleep in the street or did they go into a house and sleep? How heavy were the poles that they carried with the lamps on them? And could young maidens do that? Who are the young maidens? And on and on and on and on it goes. But all of that just needs to be set aside. The message is in the simplicity and clarity of the parable, not in the confusion brought to it by allegorists, devotionalists, and critics. All we need to know is 4 things: the wedding, the bridesmaids, the bridegroom, and the warning.